All right, folks, back to work for the final couple of days of the month of May. And boy, we got that beautiful bear trap to finish off the week last week. And we've been going higher and higher and up and up and up ever since the holiday yesterday morning. At this point, I would imagine everyone's trying to buy a pullback right now. But you probably know this already. Buying pullbacks, it sounds very easy, but timing that perfect pullback isn't always easy. The good news, though, is there are two clues on tonight's charts that are telling us exactly where that perfect pullback entry will be so we can time the best entries and make some profit on Wednesday morning. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. As always, thanks for tuning in and watching our videos. Let's go make some money on what should be a very good Wednesday morning in our trade room. Charts look fantastic right now. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. NASDAQ triple Qs are always ready. I have three clues on these charts that are telling us where the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. One of those three clues is right here on these hourly time frames. I like to use the hourly charts as an overall directional filter, and right now it's very easy to see after that beautiful bear trap last Friday, we are certainly bullish overall right now on the S&P SPY, NASDAQ, triple Qs. That will give us our directional filter for tomorrow. But there are two more important clues on some faster time frames. Some tick charts help us time the entries, find that perfect pullback for tomorrow morning. Before we dive into that though, let's check schedule for tomorrow because tomorrow's not your average Wednesday. We don't have any major news that we're worried about tomorrow, but we do have that big NVIDIA earning report coming out tomorrow night after the close. This shouldn't affect us too badly tomorrow morning, but just be careful tomorrow afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30. Markets do funny things before major earnings events. So be aware of that on the S&P and NASDAQ tomorrow afternoon. And we'll come back, of course, tomorrow night and talk about big news coming later on in the week. GDP, personal income. We get some big news later on in the week, so make sure to tune in all week here. Let's get back to our charts, though. It's good to know when the news is tomorrow, but the money is made on the charts here. I mentioned earlier, one clue is overall bullish right now on the hourly time frame. We're not going to trade a time chart, though, in our trade room. We trade tick charts every day in our trade room. All the time frames, by the way, upper left-hand corner. That is a 7,000 tick chart here on the S&P futures. And if you're watching for the first time right now, that, my friends, is the 21 EMA. It is the only indicator we need to find lots of consistent winning trades each week. There are two really big clues right now. Help us time some entries on the faster time frames. One clue is this range we saw. We had that pop up into a range over the holiday, and now we break out of that range. Now, why is a range breakout a big clue? Because most range breakouts are going to pull back the top of that range for a breakout pullback. That's a very big clue for tomorrow. The third and final clue, though, is just how large this move is the past couple days. We haven't seen any meaningful corrections ever since the holiday. Whenever I see a big move higher, there are two specific types of strategies I look for the following day. The first one is the simplest. Let's cover that first right now on the S&P SPY. The second one, though, is a bit more advanced, a bit more complicated, but I think once you see me work it up tonight, I think you'll see with the second scenario, we'll cover the NASDAQ, is really my favorite and can be our biggest winner of the week here. So two scenarios. Let's cover the first one, the simplest one here first right now on the S&P. And I'll tell you right now, if you like making money, make sure you watch all the way to the end because I'll wrap things up tonight on the second more advanced strategy for tomorrow on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. The first of two strategies after a big move like this is always a two-legged pullback. Now, when I say two-legged pullback, think about a measured move, A, B, C, D. I want a two-legged pullback pulling back. Now, I would love to get a two-legged pullback right into that breakout pullback zone and basically to buy a bear trap down here. Now, when I say bear trap, there's two ways I like to enter on a bear trap. The first one we call a two-try bear trap. Let the bears come back and try once to go short. Try twice to go short. Now, why twice? Because once I see bears trying twice, now I know their stops are sitting right above that second high, and I can buy into those stop losses. Now, where does the market want to go right now? With a big move higher like this, It wants to two-legged pullback and it wants to retest that recent high. So I'll look for the two-legged pullback. I'll use that 21 EMA to trap bears in once, twice, bear trap. And then as we make our way back to retest the high here, if I'm lucky, I'll get a chance to add to my winner. Remember, the easiest way to make a lot of money in trading is to add to your winners after that two-legged pullback. To do that, I'm looking for a shallow pullback that separates just off that 21 EMA. I want to see a higher high in price, and this is our add-on trade we love so much in our trade room. Again, the goal is to get a nice deep pullback, go back and retest that high again. In our video course, we call this a bear trap into an add-on. Bear trap is the first one, add to our winners before we go back up and retest that high. Now here's one variation of this that happens every once in a while. Sometimes I don't get that bear trap down there. Sometimes I get this beautiful two-legged pullback, but I don't get a chance to trap those bears in. What happens sometimes is it'll V-bottom off that low and just whoop, run right back up again. If that happens, my goal now is going to be to get in underneath a prior swing, ideally off the low of a new bull channel. You'll notice real quickly here, I'll draw a trend line off these new highs up here. I'll pin that trend line down around that low, and my goal is to get in below a prior swing right around the low of that channel. So again, not my favorite trade. I would love to bear trap down there off that breakout pullback zone, but if we can't get it, if it V-bottoms off that low, I'm gonna shift my focus now, find a new channel off the highs, and try to grab that first test is the best, the first touch of the low of that channel. And this could be any of the entry patterns you guys are learning in my free trading course. It could be a bear trap, like I'm showing you here. Oftentimes we'll get underneath that 21 EMA. Bears try once, bears try twice. We can squeeze those stops and run back higher. You know, a lot of examples of those entry patterns if you guys are taking my free trading courses. So that is a variation of that two-legged pullback. Again, it's still a two-legged pullback, but now instead of a bear trap down there, it's a first test of the low of that channel. Also be aware too, we frequently in these situations, we oftentimes do get a nice, large two-legged pullback. We oftentimes will get a beautiful bear trap down here once, twice, and squeeze those stops. But every once in a while what happens is the underbelly of that leg, basically the low of that first leg, every once in a while that will hold as a level of resistance, and we see another leg going lower. Now, in these cases, what we'll do is measure the size of that second leg. That creates a measuring leg down here. And the bottom line is that somewhere between that low and that measuring leg, that area right there is a great place for what we call a retest trade. The bottom line is we get that nice deep pullback. I always go for a profit target at the bottom of that first leg. So target comes off at the first leg, stop moves up to point of entry. We get rid of the risk. It's a winning trade here now. But again, now it holds the underbelly of that move and makes another leg going lower. This is going to feel very bearish. This may seem like a good place to sell short, but it's not. It's almost always a bear trap. And knowing that, as it pulls back now, I'm doing it again. Bears try once. Bears try twice. Again, squeeze those stops with a bear trap here. And remember, where's the market want to go? It wants to go back and take out that high. So as we make our way now back to retest the high, remember, add to your winner. Shallow pullback, higher high in price. I want to get in right below, right below that low. Again, we call these retest trades in our trade room, the run lower. Again, the initial bear trap's a winner, but they retest that low, bear trap, add on, and again, let that trade run back up to retest the high. Those are some variations of that first of two strategies I'm watching for tomorrow. I want to cover that second strategy now on the NASDAQ. Before we do that though, let's slow down for a couple of seconds because I know a lot of you guys watching right now, you guys know these patterns, you're making money with these, you know why I love retest trades like these, a lot of examples of those in our free video classes. But If you're watching for the first time right now, this might be way over your head, a brand new strategy you haven't seen before. So don't you worry, I teach this entire system in my free trading course. In fact, I have a ton of examples of bear traps, add-ons, lots of retest trades in the free video course. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be banking consistent profits. I want to help you guys time entries with this stuff and make more money with this stuff. So what I'll do is I'll put a link up top here for you. Upper right-hand corner, hit that link that popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that video course will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, get your confidence back, make a lot more consistent money. Guys, bottom line, if you're missing the best entries right now, if you've lost your confidence in your current strategy, hit that link that popped up there. Watch that free trading course, because everyone loves all the trading examples I include in that short video series. Best part is it is completely 100% free for you. Oh, also too, keep in mind, guys, I'm going to put all the important links you guys need to learn this strategy, time better entries, get your confidence and your P&L back on track. I'm gonna put all the links you'll need to learn this stuff in the description of the YouTube video. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video course. So grab that link at the bottom of the video, save it for the description of the video. And don't forget to, guys, I post a ton of charts and videos and mindset stuff on Twitter, or X, as they call it these days. If you're on the X platform, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need to learn the roadmap, time better entries, make a lot more money, is all linked below the video tonight, description of this video. Now, where did we leave off right now? Yes. We talked about how anytime we see a big move like this, there are 2 types of strategies we look for tomorrow. The first one is the easiest one and by far the most common. It's that 2-legged pullback, that bear trap, and that run back up to retest the high. I gave you guys some variations of that, right? The V bottom, the retest, and the add-ons. Now let's go to the NASDAQ right now. NASDAQ is very similar, obviously, to the S&P here right now. Let's talk second strategy right now over on the NASDAQ. Boy, what a move we saw. If you were watching the videos last week, we talked about how that big triangle on the NASDAQ, they definitely got a bit wild on Friday. Things got a bit thin, of course, with the holiday weekend this weekend. But what a great example, though, of how we like to use ranges for rotation, right? Rotating back now, back up into that range. Again, if you watched last week's videos, this should be nothing new to you there. Now, speaking of ranges, ranges are another very common aspect for tomorrow. But before we dive into that, though, if you guys are enjoying this video right now, please help me grow this YouTube channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days. I appreciate you guys tuning in and supporting my videos. So thank you guys for the likes, subscribes, all the ongoing support. Now, let's roll our sleeves up here and go tick charts here right now over on the NASDAQ. We know we're bullish overall on the hourly time frame, and there are 2 really big clues here right now on these tick charts. First clue is that trading range. Again, anytime we see a range breakout, we know it's just a matter of time before we see a breakout pullback, in this case, off the high of that trading range. And again, the size of that move right now, anytime we see big moves like this, it's almost always a 2-legged pullback and a retest of that high again. So we talked about that first scenario on the S&P a few moments ago. Let's now cover that second game plan. I told you earlier, the second game plan for tomorrow might be a bit more challenging, but once you learn how it works, I think you'll agree this can be a lot more lucrative. The second scenario right now is a new range up here. In fact, after a big move like this, especially with trade deals we're waiting for, the tax bill making its way through Congress right now, we may easily go sideways right here once again. Now, why would that be a big clue? Because ranges, there's 2 things you want to learn about ranges. One is that ranges act like magnets, right? So that new range becomes a magnet. The second thing is that ranges like to rotate. So the amount above, below, they love to rotate back and forth. And when they rotate, they like to use triangles and pendulum swings, right? Let me start earlier on the NASDAQ chart, right? Triangles. Imagine expanding triangles or megaphones, right? Inverted triangles, expanding triangles. And symmetry. The amount we go above, the amount we go below, the amount below, the amount above. We use these pendulum swings and triangles to trade that rotation when the market goes sideways in a range. Now, this can be a bit tricky because the markets love to throw curveballs at us in range marks. Now, for example, one way I'll use a range tomorrow is to use that range in combination with that previous range. So we know that below us, we have that previous range begging for a breakout pullback. This is where the fun happens. At this point now, once I find levels of support underneath that trading range, I'm going to wait for a breakout going lower. Now, you know me, right? I don't like to force entries. I like to wait for that pullback to that 21 EMA, let those bears try twice. Now, why twice? Because once I see them try twice now I know where their pain is. I also know where sellers become forced to be buyers and buy their way out of their losing positions. That's a bear trap pattern, or as I teach in the video course, a failure pattern. Now, once those bears are trapped in, they have to buy their way out of this position. And as this thing rotates higher now, we now look to add to our position. And the reason why I say these are my favorite is because now, where does the market now want to go? It doesn't just want to go back and retest that high. It now wants to rotate. This is why I said earlier that even though these are more complicated, they can be a lot more lucrative than simply a two-legged pullback and a retest of the high. Now we know where the market wants to go. Now we can start adding to our winner and trade that rotation back and forth. Does that make sense? So if we do go sideways or into a range up here, do not get discouraged, because I know a lot of folks don't like range-bound markets, but trust me, once you learn how they work, they'll be your favorite, just like they are for me. So use the new range as a magnet. Use the previous range now for a breakout pullback. That's the easiest way to make money in the second scenario. It's a bear trap and an add-on going back up. Again, not just to retest the high, but complete that pendulum swing on the opposite side. Now, here's one more variation of this. This is where things get a bit more tricky, so make sure you pay attention right now. On a range market, we know that ranges love to rotate. So for example, oftentimes what happens is we'll see an attempt to go higher first that will then kind of kick back against us. Now, this will feel very much like a reversal, but it's not a reversal. Remember, if we go sideways overnight or the first part of tomorrow morning, that range is going to want to rotate and act like a magnet. So if we break out higher and wind up snapping back lower, now we know, right? Now we know the amount above that range, project that below that range. Now we know now where our key area of support is, and more importantly now, we know not to chase this thing going lower. Again, this will feel like a reversal. That voice in your head is going to say, are you sure you want to buy this? And the answer is 100% yes, I do. As always though, I'm not going to force the trade. I'm not going to pick a bottom on this. I'm going to wait for price to complete that pendulum swing and then let those bears come in, try once, try twice, squeeze those stops with that failure pattern, that bear trap pattern. And then as we go higher here, I'm adding more, right? Adding more now on the runner. That shallow pullback, that higher high in price, that's an add-on to we talk about so much here on these videos. Targets again, use the pendulum swing. The amount below, the amount above, we trade the rotation back and forth again. So be aware of that dynamic if we go sideways here overnight. And remember, the same variations I mentioned earlier on the S&P. So for example, right, a range overnight, if we go sideways overnight here, we may get that strong run down. We may not get that 2 tries and back up, right? It may V bottom off that low. If it V bottoms and just whoop right back up again, if it V bottoms and begins to grind going higher here, all I do is mark a trend line. Off the high, bring that trend line down around that low, look left, again, get in under prior swings. And as always, the first test is the best test off the low of that channel. And as you can imagine, the size of that breakout back up overhead here, leave that runner. These are why range rotations are my favorite, because they can be very, very lucrative trades if you get in the habit of holding on to that runner. So all the same variations mentioned earlier on the S&P can easily be applied right now, NASDAQ as well. And we'll see what we get. Will we get a two-legged pullback? Will we see a two-legged pullback tomorrow? The game plan is ready on that. Or will we get lucky and get a range here happening overnight? The range, I love the range, because even though things get messy in ranges, once we get that breakout, trap the bears in and let that sucker run, use that pendulum swing from one side to the other. That's the game plan for tomorrow morning. Now, speaking of tomorrow morning, the place to be is in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I can't think of any better way to learn this stuff, start making money with this stuff. Come out and do it with us every morning at the opening bell. I'm going to put all the important links you need to learn the strategy, join the trade room, follow along on Twitter or X. I'll put all the important links you need to learn more about it, start timing better entries, make more profits, get your confidence back in your trading. All the links in the description are linked in the description of this YouTube video. Start there first. Enjoy the free trading course. Enjoy all the trade examples I include in that video course. Then come join us in our morning trade room, and we'll do it together. In the meantime, guys, be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.